And
Kevin insists Ashiok has boobs, and I say Ashiok's flat chested. So.
What's up, everybody? All right.
Gotcha. I'm talking over you.
No, I heard you though. I missed the very last part. With
It's all good.
Okay, something about Ashiok has tasties, and you don't think so? Tasties. You know what I mean? All right, everybody, get ready to get banged. This is a citrus twist. As I twist it citrusly. Yeah, didn't make any sense, but hey, it's good. It's good. All right. Let's go ahead and begin off. We are reading Wilds of Eldraine, Episode 3, Two Great Banquets. Welcome to it, everybody. The story is by K. Arsenault Rivera. A magic story from August 9th, 2023, off of magic.wizards.com. Magic Stories, which is where it's read from. I did not write this. K. Arsenault Rivera wrote it. Let's get right to it. Rowan, I hope this finds you. I can't say it'll find you well when I know that you aren't. You're angry. You're frustrated. I understand nothing makes sense anymore. Since you left, I've worried about you every day. Losing control at that mountain, taking off. You're trying to help, but you're driving yourself half to death. What we're dealing with isn't something anyone should face alone. We're family. Please come home. I know you're hurting, but together we can find some way to help. Your brother always, Will. Rowan reads the missive once. Her brother's neat handwriting stares back at her from the page. I know you're angry. I understand. We can find some way to help. If he understood, he'd be here. And if he wanted to help, he'd also be here. Instead, she sits on her own in a well-drummed tavern. The courier, wearing Kenrith livery, lingers in wait of a response. She tries to think of one. I'm ready to be angry. Our world is collapsing around us, and we don't have any clear answers. You want to sit at home and wait for them to show up? I'm tired of waiting. Why does that make you so afraid of me? The messenger approaches. Rowan still has an empty page before her. She folds it in three and hands it to her brother's servant. Give him this and tell him to come find me if he's serious. A curt smile and a nod, the messenger leaves. Rowan returns to her drink, seeing it her own reflection, the face that had so frightened Will at the mountain. It doesn't look so frightening to her. What remains of Ardenvale awaits the knight errant. A veil of mist lays over the hills and valleys, concealing the meadow bodies beneath. If she takes a false step, will she tumble from her horse into a trench of Phyrexians? As she nears the castle, she sees more and more wicked slumbers. Violets swirl. By the time she stands at the shattered gates, she must take great care what her feet fell. Yet Rowan does not take great care. A blast of lightning widens a hole in the great oaken gates. She steps through the scent of burning wood clinging to her cloak and climbs the violet cloak stairs. She makes only 5 steps before she sees the knights. Worthy they are, though their armor bears the patina of ill use. Each as strong and stout as they had been, Rowan saw them, for she knows these helms, these suits of plate, these people, her comrades, stand with weapons at ready. Worst of all, each one is beckoning in the slumber's mist. Like the strings of an unseen puppeteer, it rises from every limb and weapon, while the knight themselves do not move. The mist is more than canny enough to move them. An arrow fired by one of her former archery instructors misses her by a coin's breadth. Must this war continue to take from her? Her chest aches. It's me, she calls to them. It's Ro, wake up. Another arrow fired. This one strikes down in mid-flight. The lump of Rowan's throat grows. Fighting seems the only option. Readying her blade, she begins her climb through the melee. Sir Saxon, a ranger of generous heart. Sir Joshua, the beast tamer, once spent all her waking hours together. The same is true now, and the sleep has taken them. Saxon swings his bone axe. A blow she must parry. Joshua seizes the opening to bring his warhammer down on her leg. Pain ignites her vision. The old headache returns as if summoned. Rowan scrambles away from Joshua, aiming at his feet and Saxon's. She channels another blast. Both men thrown to their feet, metal clattering as they hit the wall nearby. Slumber keeps their bodies limp. In this case, a good thing. Staying limp is the best way to avoid injury at all times like that. Sir Joshua told her so. Head ringing. Sorrows heavy as a crown, she ducks another oncoming arrow. Swords, hammers, sickles, and clubs all rise to meet her on the stairs. Her old companions did their best to break her bones. Weaving around them is the best thing she can do, but that won't suffice in every case. More than once, she's forced to let out another blast. Each one levels behind a bigger crater than the last, and each one feels more thrilling. She'd like to deny it, but that is the truth of the matter. Even if she worries for her friends, she finds her blood singing with the melody this new power brought her, and that in turn makes it easier to draw upon. No matter how often she tells herself that this is enough, she must keep from losing control. It's all too easy to do. When she finds her way to the top of the steps, the knights lay resting beneath her. She looks into the charred ruin that once was the castle, and there she finds more knights waiting. Beneath foreign banners they stand, weapons in hand, heads turning toward her. For months no one has lived in Castle Ardenvon, yet these knights wear their courtroom finery in place of their armor, each one dressed to sweep someone off their feet. A plush violet carpet leads beyond a veil of shifting shadows. Gripping her sword, Rowan advances, sparks crackling in her hand and along her blade's edge. Could anyone come near? Well, isn't it better to finish the fight as fast as you can? Isn't that the merciful thing to do? She expects the knights to attack her as they did along the stairs. They do, though not so directly. Instead of charging at her outright, they waltz towards her, some holding partners in their free hands. Even the terrible dance moves with uncanny grace through the ruins of Castle Ardenvon. Couples part only long enough to slice at her before returning to their strange dance. Avoiding one lunge sends her into a path of an overhead cut. Ducking that leaves her open to Helberg's swing. She raises her arm to block, only for someone to take her hand and pull her further into the eerie celebrations. Dozens of knights press in, a swirling garden of slumbering. Rowan cannot move without touching another. Her sword is rested within her hands. Her breath catches in her throat. Indecision is a pillory. The crowd moves along, each pair of dancers a cog. The swords are coming. She knows they are, but she has to find some way to get through. She reaches the swaying veil with her free hand, only for a pale white palm to press against her own. Welcome to the court of Ardenon Queen, Rowan Kenrith. All at once, the silenced dancing comes to halt. Then, as one, they drop to their knees. Rowan, erstwhile partner, remains standing. A being of strange, terrible beauty, their face hollowed like a chalice, studies her. Smoke rises from the pits of their eyes, where their eyes should be. A cruel mouth smiles as the figure inclines their head. We have been waiting for you. Rowan reaches for her sword out of habit, only to remember she lost it in the thick of the crowd. She cannot spot it among the kneeling. You're Ashiok. I've heard you. You're Ashiok. I've heard you. Okay. They only grin, revealing a mouth of pointed teeth. What are you doing here? Does she mean on Eldraine or Castle Ardenron? She isn't sure. I am a friend, a counselor to the one you seek here. She has done extraordinary work for so far. They glide past her, the air cooler when they touch it. A simple gesture behind. One of the knights produces her sword. He holds it out to her, laid across the plates of his palms. The figure squeezes her shoulder. Go on. This is what you're looking for, isn't it? She's seen this tabloid before. Her father and mother knighting the latest worthies. The crowns upon their heads. The crowns she'd seen in her own visions. Rowan hackles rise. She takes the sword. Let these people go, she says, but she does not yet raise the blade against the mysterious figure. Are you certain that you want that? They ask. I am. They're my friends. They suffered enough without your meddling, Rowan says. If you can control the sleepers, you are the one who cursed us, aren't you? Their smiles revels 2 rows of pointed teeth. The one who cursed you lays there, beyond the veil. Do you wish to speak to her? Rowan grits her teeth. She does not wait for the figure to guide her, but takes off on her own. When they reach the gauzy gray, it is the figure who parts it for her. On the other side, a full feasting table with a beautiful woman in black at its head. The woman lifts a goblet toward her. In her hand, Rowan sees a glass apple with the strains of a translucent violet snaking out of it. Magic? Rowan Kinrith? A pleasure and an honor to finally meet you. Has anyone told you that you look like your mother? The faceless figure pulls out a chair for her. Rowan ignores them, walking straight to the woman. Whoever you are, you have some nerve. That woman's got nothing to do with this, she says. She lifts the sword overhead, then she brings it down in a mighty swing that she stops at a hair's breadth from the woman's face and is a testament to her newfound control. Rowan wants nothing more than to rid the world of this curse. Did you call me here just to make sick jokes? The woman makes no move to stop her, nor even to stand. She sips from her goblet. Hold on. Let's sip from her goblet real quick. Bang. Dear Rowan, I brought you here because I admire the fire within you. A knight is prepped to face all manners of weapons on the battlefield swords, pikes, arrows, and hammers. What they are not prepped for, and indeed what Rowan was never trained against, is such a disarming sincerity who grip wavers. What? The woman smiles. She lays her manicure fingers on Rowan's knuckles and gently easing the sword from its path. The others are afraid of you, aren't they? Your comrades, your people, even your siblings. Rowan swallows. You don't know anything about me. Or, no, I guess that's what I would have said. You don't know anything about them. Yet you haven't told me wrong, the woman says. She never looks away, her eyes rich as mead. Your father's family tells you that you've changed. Your brother hardly recognizes you. You're in awful pain. Yet all he can seem to do is try to fix you. Isn't that right, darling? Rowan's mouth opens. She cannot force any words to come out. The woman rises to her feet. Rowan lets her. Just as her mother had so many times, she clears a shock of hair from Rowan's face. I know what it's like to have a family turn their backs on you, but I won't. Why does it why does it feel like this? To be seen in this way? Rowan's breathing is shakier than she'd like to admit. You've been working so hard to keep everyone safe. Since the attack, that's all you can think about. Looking after the realm, your father's family, making sure no one hurts you ever again, says the woman. She sits once more. You want to know why I brought you here? Well, I created the wicked slumber. Just like you, I wanted to keep my people safe. The invaders had no hope of standing against something like this. That it spread to the others is unfortunate. But even in the most fortunate, I've discovered something beautiful. Would you like to know what that is, Rowan Kenrith? Her mouth has gone dry, her headache pounding harder than ever. If this woman wanted Rowan dead, surely she would be. And if the wicked slumber had come about as a way to stop the invasion, her mother urging her to hurry, her father planting his feet for a hopeless last stand, what if Rowan could have stopped it? What if she could have put the invaders to sleep as the woman had? I would, she says. I would like to know. The woman smiles as the smile is warm as a spiced wine. She turns to the stranger. Says, Ashiok, if you would. A blink, a moment of darkness. No more than that. When she opens her eyes again, her parents are standing at the woman's side. Gosh, right? There, her father, whole as he had been in this vision, her mother, beaming and proud. Rowan, from whom words have failed, rushes into the arms of his parents, only for them to fade after she closes her arms around them. Rowan whimpers is not the is that is Rowan's whimper is not that of a knight, nor that of a woman grown. It is the whimper of a child, carried from a cabin, too young to understand what had just happened. How cold she feels, standing there, stood moments ago. It felt real, didn't it? The woman asked. Rowan could only nod, staring at her hand. A little of their warmth still clings to her skin. Was it was it you who sent the first vision? With assistance from my own mentor, yes, the woman answers. My father said I would find my blood here, Rowena says. Her voice begins to waver. You said I looked like my mother. You didn't mean Lyndon. The woman's smile is oddly nostalgic. And Rowan it occurs to Rowan why she smiles the very same way. No, I didn't. The woman killed let's see here, the woman killed me and my brother. She was going to drink our blood, Rowan says. Every word is a cut. My sisters have been known for their wisdom, only their ambition, the woman says. Your mother was the cruelest of us. Make no mistake, your father was right to strike her down. And Lyndon, right in saving you. That doesn't erase the magic in your blood. Roan, you can use it for something good. You have the opportunity to redeem our line, to grant the realm a boon unlike any other. Anger in her heart, she stares down at her hands, already covered in blood. How long she had been denied that part of her. The blast at the mountain, her difficulty with control. What if the witch's blood was at its core? And the dream this woman had granted her. How long it had been since Rowan was that happy. Why didn't they ever tell me about you? The woman tuts. I imagine they didn't want you following in our footsteps, but that hardly matters now. Rowan swallows. The storm inside her is almost too much to bear. Everyone you've seen on the way here, every dreamer in the realm experienced the same thing, says the woman. Well, whatever they're lost has returned to them. In glad halls, they celebrate the realm's victory, surrounding us all by those they hold dear. picturesque meadows away from all the turmoil, the lap of a loved one. Wherever they wish to be, that is where they are, where they will remain. No worries, no fears. People need more dreams, Rowan manages, yet it feels hollow even to say such a thing. Given the opportunity to spend eternity in a dream with her parents, could this cursed blood of hers grant that to the whole realm? Some do. They can remain awake, but for those who seek escape, well, I've found a way to grant it to them. Their bodies yet serve my will, but their minds are elsewhere. Rowan takes a steadying breath. The slumber doesn't pick and choose who it takes. You aren't approaching them one by one and asking whatever your will is. My will is the same as yours, Rowan. I want you to keep the realm safe. I want you to lead it. I want power, says the woman. Power to drive off threats. Power to secure my own future. Nothing in this world is certain. So vital is power. With power, you can command loyalty, grow strong, endure, and challenge thrown your way. Endure any challenge, yes. To seize it, you need to encourage and knowledge and have knowledge of your enemies. Holding it lends you only more. You've come to realize that, haven't you? It's the reason no one respects your brother. The reason they fear you. You're too much of my sister in you for their taste. But I know your potential. I can be there for you, the way I never was for her. Rowan's eyes falls to the ground, to the tiles she had helped her father pick during the castle's last renovation. She liked the sunburst pattern. Good choice. People respected her parents. They were fine warriors, kind of heart, and had earned their place. What had Will done? He is kind of heart, but without the rest, would anyone, and isn't keeping people happy the kindest thing she could possibly do? To say nothing of all this woman, her aunt, had done for the realm. Before coming here, Rowan thought the slumber was a curse. But now she sees what a blessing it can be. The realm's lost so much. Isn't ensuing that it stays the whole right thing, the gallant thing. And while her subjects slumber, she can see their well being. With an army of sleepers like this, they could unite the realm. They could turn the curse of their birth into something beautiful. You understand, don't you? The woman says. I knew you would. Rowan presses her eyes shut. She can fix it. She can fix everything. If only she could. Can you teach me? Can you teach me to bring people peace in this way, to keep them safe? Can you teach me how to planeswalk again? The spark is gone, says Ashiok. Their voice a long, drawn out hiss. For you and many others. Ooh. Dang.
I heard about that.
The woman rises, grinning. But the rest will be my pleasure. Every ruler needs an heir. She too opens her arms. My name is Ariette. Darling, welcome home. As Rowan lays her head on Ariette's shoulder. As she allows herself to relax for the first time in months, she wonders just how long has it been since anyone understood her like this? And that is the first chapter of this round. Oh, nice little Rowan walking into the castle of Ardenvale with a bunch of people dancing and trying to kill her at the same time. That was pretty epic. And of course they're jamming that her parents died in front of her down her throat. So this that lady's name is Ariette. Was let me go back. Eriette.
Here yet?
Yeah, that's what I said, right? Ariette.
Okay.
Get banged. Don't worry, this is medical. This is not medical in the state I'm in.
It's not medical in the state you're in?
No, it's recreational. It's just
You
medical.
still have medical.
Yeah, it's just. I'm just being honest. Just everywhere else is medical. If anybody asks. Okay, we are moving on to chapter 2, part 2 of episode 3, the two banquets. A really cool picture, by the way. I don't know if we can get it in there, but this is you can barely see. There it is. Yeah, that was Rowan meeting area right here. Pretty fucking sweet, I think. Back to it though. All you have to do is keep looking down. Easy for you to say you've done this before, Ruby shouts. Halfway up as they are, Ruby is clinging to the stalk as if it owes her money. Okay. It sort of does. Peter couldn't make it up the tree with his injuries, but he did give them all his savings so they could hire a guide. That guide, Troyan, oh, that's going to be a card, is way up ahead of them. He stands on a leaf the size of a paddock watching Cowan and Ruby climb. That's not true. I've never climbed a beanstalk once. You said you were an expert climber, Cowan shouts. The air is thin enough that it hurts him to do so. Troyan looks like a beanstalk climber, blue skinned and dashing, clad in punching green and blue, some strange mythical creature with too many arms painted on his coat. The sign he carried even said professional wanderer and adventurer. That had been the whole reason they had hired him. Well, that and how confident he was when they asked him if he knew how to get up the beanstalk. I am, he says. Climbed plenty of spires in my day. Won every competition there was to be had. A beanstalk's a pleasant change of pace. Well, they found the right guy for this job. Cowan frowns. His arms hurt, his shoulders ache, and he's finding it hard to breathe. But somehow Troyan is doing just fine despite being higher up. But we hired you to help us. Yeah, Ruby says, do your job. Troyan says, all right, you've got a point, he says. He sits down on the edge of the leaf, then moves his heavy backpack to his lap. From it, he pulls two glass vials full of oily, slick liquid. The stopper's covered with bulbous warts. I was saving these for a tough time. They're hard to come by, but since you're paying me so well. Don't sound so smug about it, Ruby chides. I guess I can spare two, Troyan finishes, but you'll have to get up here first. Ruby groans, and Cohen echoes her. Being a hero isn't all it's cracked up to be, but he has to admit he's curious about what these potions do. He puts it all into it 15 minutes of muscle burning effort, and he crests the leaf. Troyan is kind enough to help him up. How much did you guys pay him? He tosses Cowan the vial. With the cap removed, bubbles float onto his skin. One lands on his nose, and when it bursts, it smells like swamp water. It feels a slight buzzing in his throat. Cowan can no more keep it from drinking it than a sheep could keep from gazing. He downs it in a thirsty instant. His tongue is the first thing to change. Tingling gives way to a stretching sensation, and soon it rolls out of his mouth like a knight's unfurled banner. Next come his skin, oozing and slick, and then sort of a pent up energy in his legs. When he opens his mouth, all that comes out is a greasy croak. Cowan chuckles. Pretty cool, huh? Don't worry, it's only temporary, Troyan says. He gestures the open air above him. Go on, jump. Just make sure you mind your landing. Ruby hands crests the leaf. Kellen helps her up. On seeing his new bulbous eyes, his lolling tongue, she starts, "What did you do to my friend?" she asks Troyan. "Ruby, don't worry. I'm fine," Kellen says. He smiles to drive home the point. "I think maybe we can jump all the way up if we drink these." Ruby squints at them both in turn. "You're asking me to believe a lot there." Kellen holds the other vial up. "He's got froggification in a bottle. I think we can trust him on this one," he says. "If you're going to get up there, you need to be jumping," Troyan cuts in. Ruby sighs. She glances at the bottle, then shakes her head. I'll hold on to you, Kellen. If things are so hard to come by, then we'll be better off saving them. Turn around." Kellen does as he's told. "Where'd you get these anyway? Did a witch make them for you?" A pause as Ruby climbs on, piggyback style. "Wait, you aren't Faye, are you?" Troyan laughs. No, not at all. Uh, Pay me a little more, and perhaps I'll tell you how I found them." "Skinflint," Ruby mutters. "I heard that." Kellen laughs. "High up as they are, he isn't afraid to look down. Not when he feels like this, whether it be lightning grace or by some other unseen mechanics, he feels alive. When was the last time he was around such friendly people? People who weren't his family. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." Kellen, farm boy from Oranshire, leaps to the sky, and the sky lowers to meet him. Bubbles of swamp water spring from his feet, propelling him higher and higher. A ribbit hits his ears only after they've broken through the clouds on the other side. That is one crazy potion. Whoa. A moonlit castle awaits. Hurtling toward the ground is less frightening when the ground is close. Kellen lands with only the slightest of tumbles. He falls face first, but Ruby remains unscathed. Great. She offers him a hand, and she admires the castle's brutal, towering facade. "We're really here, huh?" Stormkeld. "It's huge," Kellen says. It's hard to keep his mouth from hanging open at the sheer size of it. Giants are big. Oh no. Some red creatures might be up here. I don't know. But only now he had never had any indication of just how big. He points to the great doors, each a tower's size of their own. "Look, we can probably walk in right beneath the doors." I've heard a story like this. This isn't going to be good. I think it's going to be worse because it's Magic the Gathering. "They must not get many human visitors," Ruby says. "We must be like mice to them, coming to steal all their food." "Only if they catch us," Kellen says. "Come at night was a good call. I bet everyone's asleep." Ruby smiles and starts walking along the path. Each flagstone is the size of a horse, taking several steps to traverse. "Listening to me is always the right call, hero," she says. He shuffles to keep up. "Shouldn't we wait for Troyan? Let him take a break. Take a break. Another record climbing up here if he wants to." Ruby scoffs. "It's what he deserves." It takes more than an hour's walk to clear the courtyard. Oh man. Okay. Troyan catches up midway though, sweaty and exhausted, but nevertheless undaunted. The three continue on their way to the threshold until the grounds begin to shake beneath their feet. Ruby squats down. Cowan hides his head. Only Troyan remains standing, raising his finger and swinging them slightly side to side. Ruby, Ruby yanks him down by his sleeve. "I don't know if they have earthquakes up here, but if they do, you need to brace yourself." Troyan shakes his head with a smirk. "Try counting the quakes." A roll of the eye, a puff of the air between his lips. Ruby protests, but does as asked. All her frustrations fell away as she hears the first strains of a distant music, and a realization sets in. "Huh?" Kellen, as yet uninitiated to the finer world, tries to follow in her footsteps with no success. The quake stopped and started often. But why were they counting? His brows furrow as he tries to work out. Ruby covers his counting hand with her hand. They're dancing, she explains. Waltzing, to be specific, adds Troyan, which does unfortunately mean they're awake. Waltzing? Cowan has no idea what it is. But he caught his mom and Ronald turning in wide steps around the house once. Maybe it's like that. If they're dancing, they won't notice us, he says. We can sneak in. But now he knows what the hum from Ruby means. She's not sure. She's not going to back down from the challenge. Let's hope so, she says. Further, they walk to the threshold itself, a great gate that opens for the most miniature beings of the beanstalk. Beneath the wood ceiling they pass. The world that awaits them on the other side would beggar any king of realm. Would beggar any king. Okay, beautiful marble arches higher than any parapet. A dome of morning sky overhead. Boisterous music that thrums in their lungs. A gilded goblet holding wells of full of wine. Most striking of all are the giants themselves, whenever clad in gambeson and mail, or taffeta gowns. They make handsome sights. And a strange one. If all the rumors of giants are to be believed, shouldn't they be doing giant things? Ruby asked. Though she's shouting, it's hard to hear her over the music. Maybe these aren't giant things, Cowan asks. When the quakes come, he hops along with them. In the back of his mind, he wonders if his father has wings, if he'll have them too when he gets older. He hopes so. The boy's right. I don't see why they can't enjoy a celebration every now and then. This place certainly needs it after what it's been through, Troyan says. Well, I didn't say it, it's just that the other people don't. Ruby starts, but ends in a huff. Whatever. At least they haven't Noticed us. Kellen, do you know where they might keep a mirror? Sorry. Here, let me bang up. That's better. Indeed, the giants have not noticed the adventurers, and this is all the worse for their part. All the worse for their part. While there is a pattern to dances, not all giants make great, graceful dancers. Their best predictions of where the next footfall will sometimes go awry. More than once, Ruby pushes Cohen out of Doom's reach. More than once, Troyan does the same for her. Cohen's heart is hammering again. This is dangerous. Of course it is. But with the music playing, the laughter around, it's sort of fun, too. Back at home, he's the smallest boy in the village. But here, they're all small, and his agility is a boon. He darts from step to step, his eyes full of wonder, looking for the gleam of silver. I don't know. Maybe it's in somebody's room. What? What? To ask it questions in the middle of the night. Wait, what? To ask it questions. Though Ruby's initially skeptical, a moment thought changes her tune. Actually, that's not a bad idea. It's hard to determine where a room might be when everything's so large as this. When at least they find a stair. Oh God, I bet that stair is huge. Only Troyan can scale the slippery stone. It takes him a great effort to do so. Nevertheless, he drops the rope for the others and they haul themselves up one by one. In this way, they can climb to the 24 steps to a higher level, which may not at all told even contain a bedroom. Oh no! But halfway up the stairs, they have the displeasure of running into a goose. Okay.
The golden goose?
I don't know. We're going to find out, right?
There was a golden goose in Eldraine.
Well, then this is probably the
Gilded
goose.
Something. I don't know.
Years on the farm have hardened Kellen's heart to these blasted creatures. He loves near everything and everyone that draws breath in the realm, except geese. And with good reason. The local geese are the only things that trouble him as much as the local bullies. Perhaps the geese are worse. God. And what's worse than a geese his size? A goose that's the size of a family market cart. Gosh. The goose, fastened, festooned in gold, waddles down the steps ahead of its owner, who by her raiment must be the lady of the house herself. And while the giants might not take notice of them, the goose does, honking a horrible honk, locking eyes with them as they crest another step. Kellen knows in his heart the right answer to be dealing with this abomination. Run, he shouts, run for your lives. He takes off like a shot, his shoes failing to get any traction against the marble. Ruby's got better luck. She jumps off the step, landing in Troyhan's awaiting's arms. She stops and turns only to see Kellen land chest first on the marble, the goose's beak descending like an axe, and two fingers pinching the back of his cloak. He's lifted into the air, his feet dangling beneath. The goose nips at his heels. If he dares to look down, he will have an unholy view of the goose's mouth, something that might stain his mind forever. But he is wise enough to avoid this fate. Instead, he fixes eyes on the giant scowl. Kellen holds up his hands and shrugs. Sorry for intruding. Who are you? She asks. The force of her speech sends him swaying. What are you doing at my party? I've come on a quest, Cohen says. Difficult to strike a heroic pose here, but he gives it all he can. I seek the magic mirror. The giant's lips curls in a sneer. No. Honored lady, she shouts Ruby. She cupped her hands over her mouth. She must be shouting at the top of her lungs. We don't mean any harm. We just want to ask the mirror a question. Do you think it's the first time I've heard that lie? The giant answers. Small folk like nothing more than deception. How dare you come into my house on my birthday and demand a thing from me? Happy birthday, Kellen blurts. Of course, Kellen blurts that. I don't need to hear it from you, she replies. Kellen hears a deep sigh from behind them. Balluna, don't tell me you're causing trouble. Their unwilling host, Balluna, turns. Over her shoulder, Kellen sees a crowned man, his cup already half empty, his cheeks ruddy. Despite the finery he wears, he's only half Balluna's size, his beard bushy and green. Balluna curtsy at the sight of him, which nearly drops Kellen into the goose's waiting gullet. Lord Yorva, she says, I'm only dealing with these pests. Pests you're speaking to? Aye, my lord, says Balluna. She holds Kellen up towards the old man. Looking at him now, he fairly sure the beard really is made of plants. And if he's smaller, but Balluna's listening to him. Could that be the Giant King? Kellen doesn't even know his name, only that he vanished from Garenbrig during the invasion. What's he doing all the way over here? He's not like these giants. Maybe he's paying them a visit for the birthday party. Kellen really, really hopes he's in good mood, or else the goose awaits. That looks rather like a young man, says the king. You aren't planning to feed a small folk to your goose on your birthday, are you? You can't be that in need of golden eggs. He means to steal the mirror, she protests, and it is my birthday, and I think it is right I decide what to do with him. The king turns his attention to Kellyan. Young man, why are you here? I've been given a quest by the Fey Lord, Kellen says. He hopes mentioning Talion with smooth matters over. Lords respect each other, didn't they? I and our friends mean to find and defeat two witches, but we don't know where to go. We are hoping to ask the mirror for assistance. The king nods, strokes his beard. Consider you and yours my guests at this party.
Whoa.
Cohen grins. Of course, he says. Bologna, I don't think there is any harm in showing them the mirror. There's no way they could possibly move it with only three of them, and well, they're guests now. The kings offer them a conspiratorial wink. Conspiratorial wink. Okay. Give the kindly lord my regards, will you? Back now for the long trip of yours. He does not hear Baluna groan, but he can feel it. You're stretching hospitality, Lord Yorvo, she says, but I see your point. The king passes, patting the goose's head as he goes. Baluna sets Kalian down in the palm of her hand. She carefully picks up the others and sets them there too, then starts to walk with a nary word. Her gait is so wide that they reach their destination in mere moments. It is, indeed, in a bedroom. She sets them down in front of the mirror. Then she crosses her arms. Make this quick. You're lucky. Ooh, that's a word I should have looked. Alborix? Biorix? Albiorix? It's a
I
tough.
don't know.
You're
Alvaro?
Alborix?
I think it's French.
Alboro?
I have no clue. I've never heard it before.
Alborex. Alboro. We'll just go Alboro. Alborex, whatever. You're lucky Alborex won't be eating you tonight. Who names a goose Alborex? Ruby mutters. Kellyan stifles a shudder and approaches the mirror. The boy he sees there, cloaked, already leaner from travel, seems larger than the boy he was only a few weeks ago, more like a hero. Oh, great mirror, he says. Where can I find Witch Hilda? Ooh, that's a witch you don't want to find, buddy. Nothing happens. Cowan frowns. You have to tell it something it doesn't know, manling. Bluna says. The mirror doesn't just spit out valuable information for free. Something it's never heard before, Troyan repeats. He sets his hand on Colin's shoulder. Mirror of Idrelon. My name is Troyan, and I wasn't born here in Eldraine. What? Ruby says, but already the magic is starting to work. Winter's own breath fogs the silvery surface. Kellen feels compelled to reach forward and wipe it away. Beneath the condensation, he sees a castle of ice. Ooh, faceted and glittering, resting atop a rocky cliff. Wait, I think I know that place. Loch Laurent. My brother used to take me fishing there, Ruby says. She frowns, but there wasn't any ice there when we went before the war. How'd she build something like that so fast? I don't know, says Kellen. But if you'll lead the way, then maybe we can find out. And that was episode 3, The Two Banquets. Oof. It's pretty good. Another good round. Let's say what's up to everybody. Thank you for being on this journey. Big shout out to Teals, our magic on-site expert. Just remember in the comments if you have any questions about magic, you can ask me and I'll probably ask her. So, love you all. Stay groovy toast. And be awaiting that episode 4. And that's going to be called, I should have remembered it, Ruby and the Frozen Heart. I really like Ruby. I think Ruby's one of my favorite characters. You know, Ruby definitely. But Kellen got a lot better in that one, I think. And this guy they hired. What?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Like, just trying not to get eaten. But all right, guys, I'll see you.